My name is Pam, and thank you for tuning into my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And you know what time it is, you guys. It's about color on this Colorful Friday series, where I take one plant out of my collection that I feel adds a little spice to my sea of green. So let's just get right into it. My feature plant for today, you guys, is actually going to be a Rex Begonia. Before I show it to you, I just want to give you a little brief information about it. There's about 30 varieties, at least 30 varieties of Rex Begonias, and this type is actually going to be called a cultorum. It's a perennial, and it has an actual growth span of between 12 to 18 inches in height as well as width. Now let me just show you guys this beauty. I love the pattern on it. It does give blooms, as you can see here, with the pretty pink flowers. They only stay that size and then they usually dry off and fall off. But this plant has been continuously blooming for me. I've had this plant for about a year, you guys, and when I got it, it was in one of those small, I'll say 3-inch pots that you would get from a local big box store. And it's just been continuously growing for me. Now, by all means, you guys, I don't have a lot of begonias in my collection because I have had a few of those cane begonias in my collection, and unfortunately, they're no longer with us. So, you know, but for some reason, this Rex Begonia seems to be easier care for me in my environment. So let's just get right into the care tips. Now, as far as the soil, you guys, it loves a light and airy soil. So I would recommend equal parts of your regular planting soil and perlite. Now, the light, it does thrive in bright, indirect light. But unlike most begonias, this particular begonia Rex can handle a less lighting situation. So preferably, you guys, if you have an actual grow light, this plant, I can honestly say, would do very well under that type of conditions. Now, I do have this plant sitting literally on the floor in my sunroom underneath my Hoyas, where it's getting that damp light. And I believe I showed this plant to you guys in my recent plant tour part 1. So if you haven't seen that, you guys check it out and will see the location of where I have this plant. Now, humidity, I would recommend probably no less than 50% humidity. Now, granted, it is sitting in the sunroom where I do keep my humidifier at 40%, and that seems to be fine. So, and the typical humidity inside my home is 50%. So I would recommend at least 50% inside your homes, and I think it will do fine. Now, the watering. Do not allow this plant to dry out completely. It is not forgiving if you miss a watering. The leaves will crisp up on you. I recommend actually watering this plant. It likes to stay moist but not wet. So I recommend that you water this plant at least when the top of the soil actually feels dry. So you don't really have to stick your fingers into the soil, but if you feel the top and it feels dry to you, that's a good time to actually give it a drink. Now, as far as pests, the most common pest for this plant, you guys, would actually be mealybugs. Now, thank goodness I have not had any experience with pests, but I did do a little bit of research on this plant. And if you ever notice, or if you have begonias and it may look like the leaves seems to be chewed up on, that's a good indicator, a good time for you to actually check or inspect your plants to see if it has any other type of issues outside of mealybugs that you would easily see. But if your leaves are being chewed on, it may be an issue where you have to check for spider mites or possibly thrips, and maybe your white flies as well. Now, propagation, this is pretty full and compact. I love the way that it looks. I'm not sure if I would propagate. However, you could propagate by the stem, by just cutting the stem. But as you can see, you guys, I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up or not, but you can see the The redbacks, again, you guys, I love those redbacks, but the stem is, the petiole is very furry and hairy. So you actually could cut it. And this particular plant doesn't need a node or anything. You could actually cut it. And I would recommend actually putting it into soil. And the reason why I say that, usually my traditional way to propagate my plants would be water. But for this particular plant, because of the texture of the petiole, I would be a little bit nervous that it would rot very quickly if it was just to be doused or just stuck into a glass of water. So I think you would have a better chance if you actually cut it and put it in soil, maintain the moisture of that soil, as well as maybe amp up your humidity, and hopefully you should see some new growth sprout from that. So I don't know, I may actually, I haven't thought about it too much. I might actually try that theory just to see if it works. Maybe I'll do a versus, like a petiole in water versus actually in dirt. I think that would be a cool comparison and cool update to share with you guys. So I'm not quite sure. But one last look at this plant. It's so big you can hardly see the pot, you guys. But I really love the pattern on the front of the leaves, as you can see. It's like a very dark color. But once again, you guys, I just can't deny the back. And I love that fuzzy feelingness of the petioles. The flowers are pretty cool. It adds a pretty nice accent to it. And I don't know, it's a big surprise for me because, like I said, I'm not really good with taking care of my begonias. I only have two, just this one and the one behind me, which seems to like what I'm doing so far. So I may branch out and get some other begonias, but I'm not 100% sure. You know, one of the goals that I like to have as far as my plant journey is stress-free as possible. So I don't really want any plants in my collection that's going to stress me out. So, but yeah. That pretty much ends this video, you guys. Let me know if you have any Rex begonias, if you have this particular type, or any of the other varieties of the Rex begonias, and how well they're doing in your environment. I'm interested for you to share that. And so, yeah. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Keep in mind, if you love foliage as much as I do, and you love listening to planting things, please subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I appreciate any support you guys can give me, and enjoy your day in the world wherever you are. And until next time, much love. Bye.